Hi guys, this is Dan. Welcome back to my channel. When you read fantasy books, do you feel overwhelmed by like a 10-book series? Or do you crave for the depth that only a saga can bring? Today, let's settle this good old question. A series or a standalone? Let's find it out together. In today's video, I will try to compare the pros and cons of these two formats as someone who mainly reads a series rather than a standalone. Maybe a little comparison between them to see what you can expect. At last, I would recommend some books from these two categories. It is quite exciting, isn't it? If you have enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a like, subscribe to my channel Fantasy so you won't miss any fun bookish content from me. If you don't know, this channel hasn't been monetized yet, so if you want to support me or the running of it, you can visit my Patreon or Ko-fi. You can also follow my Instagram for more daily updates. All the links you need will be in the description below. Maybe we can begin with what's so good of a series. Obviously, if we have a series, no matter it is duology, trilogy, or anything more, you can expect a deeper world building from them. You can imagine worlds like Russia from Stormlight Archive or Westeros from A Song of Ice and Fire. The authors got more than one book to construct these places. Not just like different places, different cities, but also the culture, history, and lore. The author no need to pack and rush everything in one single book and take time to develop them. And also as the reader, we won't feel too overwhelmed by all this new information about all these unfamiliar places too easily. With the longer series, we can also expect a long-term character development. Watching a favorite character evolves across a series that got like over 1,000 pages, there is nothing like this. Usually this kind of growth or even a transformation is quite emotional. So it is in a sense to see all these characters becoming a new person because of all the adventure they have. This reminds me of series like the Greenbone Saga by Fonda Lee. You can never condense what the No Peak clan has gone through in just one single book with all those emotional payoff. That's why a series is good for character development. Similar to the last point, a longer series usually comes with a longer narrative arcs, which in a sense can help with the character development. This is not limited to the quantity of it, but also, those like secretive hidden ones waiting to be revealed or themes that take time to brew. To achieve this, the author may adopt a multi-POV narrative, and a series can give some more room to breathe. To readers, a series also offers a fandom engagement. You got your theories, you got like your reread culture and memes and like deep dives. Whole communities across the world are talking about it. Even me, I am part of it now. Even now, for some fantasy series that is written some time ago, people are still talking about it thanks to the TV series or dramas use them as a adaptation. So this community can only keep growing, get bigger. The last pro I can think of is almost like a TV series. When you are hooked, you are hooked. You will just want to keep reading until you complete the series, or maybe sometimes you will be whining because you're up to date with the series. That wait is desperate. A coin always have two sides, so what's the downside of a fantasy series? First of all, it's about your commitment. Trilogy, I would say, is still manageable because there are only 3 books for you to complete. But if you're going for like a longer series, a saga, like The Wheel of Time, Madison, Sunita, you really need to invest your time. Every book is like I said, really detailed, so they're usually on the longer side. So as a reader, you really need to plan your time well and see when and how you're gonna complete it. Otherwise, you just keep your backlog. Also, because of this, you may suffer from like a serious fatigue. You can already imagine in a longer series, a saga, not every single book gonna hit. And I mean, look at the slog of The Wheel of Time, Crossroads of Twilight. Many people hating it. You may got filler arcs, you may got pacing issues, you may have like set up for the rest of the series. with the elements you are not happy with, you may easily get burned out before the finale. Another problem around this commitment issue is about the entry barrier. Imagine yourself as a newbie to Cosmere. You want to jump into it. Earlier, I would say it's easier, but now with more development in this universe, where should one start? You may be interested in this one, but some may suggest you to start with that, maybe also start with that one. And also, Brandon Sanderson got his own secret project going on, and you also got some novellas to check out in between these books. There is honestly quite a lot for a newbie to research on. Some may even feel like it is better for me not to start it at all because of all this homework. Outside of this commitment, I sometimes do struggle to get back to a sequel, especially the series is still ongoing. With this recap struggle, getting back to a fantasy world with a new novel coming out can be quite brutal. We can all relate to who is this side character, why are they here now, what actually happened in the last book. So I guess every time after we finish a book, we should write a review on Goodreads as soon as possible or see if anyone has done a summary for us. We are just lazy. Luckily, I don't have this problem yet, but imagine you have spent tons of time on this series. Finally, it is the finale, but the ending flopped. Nothing hurt more than that. So in a sense, unless you have already checked out the spoilers, you will never be certain how rewarding the ending gonna be like. The last problem I can think of is about your TBR. If you are reading a series, of course you will want to keep up with it as much as possible. So after a couple of months, you may find out that you keep reading books from the same series. Meaning if you want to check out other series or check out some new release, sorry, you need to read your series first before starting the others. Now let's talk about standalones. Those one and done gems that wrap everything in just one single book. Opposite to a series, obviously you don't have a commitment and with a high payoff. You just need to pick up a book and enjoy the stories. No strings attached. It is really good for those who want to read but with a busy schedule, or maybe you're currently reading some really chunky books and want some easier read. Without much a commitment, it is also perfect for mood readers. If you don't want to have a huge commitment and want something that is self-contained, there is nothing better than a standalone. With this very obviously, unlike a series that you need to invest your time to complete the series and find out the ending, a standalone is a complete arc. There's no waiting, there's no cliffhanger in a standalone. When you finish the book, that's it, that's everything. Go to Goodreads and rate it, give your review, and you can go. The last merit I can think of is standalone is really accessible for new readers. If you want to try out a new author and want to understand the charm rather quickly, a standalone can let you sample the tone and style of that author without investing so much time in an entire saga. But of course, a standalone also got its own limitations. First of all, you can already imagine, a standalone usually comes with a very limited world building. I am not saying it is impossible to achieve it, but there is just not enough room to develop a fully fleshed out world that got the same depth as in a series. It is just like The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. It is still classified as a standalone, but you still need a prequel to fill up what had happened before. Also because of this length limitation, the emotional arc is usually shorter. Once again, I'm not saying it is impossible to do so, but you may not feel as emotionally invested in the characters or plot because you just don't have the time to grow with them or let the emotions to sink in your mind. With the nature of a standalone, you may notice the pacing issues more easily. Some authors may want to showcase what they have to pack everything in just one single book, but it may appear as doing too much in too little time. You may feel the ending is perhaps a bit rushed or certain characters is like neglected and faded to the background. Now, to really bring this to life, maybe we can look at two books by the same author, Brandon Sanderson. One is like a lighter, more whimsical standalone, and the other is a massive ongoing series that's basically a cornerstone of modern epic fantasy. Can you guess which standalone I am talking about? And it is Threads of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson, obviously, and it is a standalone Cosmere novel. To be honest, it is the perfect example of what a great standalone can do. In terms of the tone and style, it is quite charming and quirky as usual, and almost got this like fairy tale-ish narrative voice thanks to our recurring character. It doesn't take itself to be too seriously and still manage to be thoughtful and emotionally resonant. The world building is also quite unique and creative, in a sense weird. Who can imagine you can have the spore sea and the magical moons in a Sanderson world, which is still digestible? Even the magic system playing with the spores is quite creative. Along the way, everything is explained to you so you can get a full picture of the setting without an exceptionally long appendix. Then the character, Tress, is a fully realized character. I never expect there could be a subtle yet powerful growth in a shorter standalone. And we don't really need a trilogy to experience this journey. All in all, Threads of the Emerald Sea demonstrates low commitment and high reward. You can easily finish this book in a couple of settings, feeling satisfied of completing a brilliant fantasy story and simply move on. And of course, you can dive deeper to the Cosmere if you want to. Now, if we compare this to the Stormlight Archive, a series, let's be real here, it is the deep end of the fantasy pool. The difference in the tone and the scope is quite significant already between these two. Stormlight Archive is a sweeping epic fantasy at its finest. Huge stake, sprawling characters and themes from mental health to war, identity, and leadership. The tone also got more mature in a sense, not too witty as in Threads of the Emerald Sea. Then the world building is so off the charts. It is just so unique and complex. Roger, this place got its own language, culture, history, landscape, weather, or even ecosystem. It is dense but great. And I don't think it is possible to condense all this in just one single book. It takes time to unpack and let the readers immerse into it. The characters are all really complex, and every single one of the protagonists got so much to grow over the time. Kaladin, Dennifer, Shannon are all so emotionally complex, and only thousands of pages can do them justice. The payoff is huge, but of course, you need to work on it. Stormlight Archive is not a series that you can just dip in and out. Every one of them is just so long, some may be even over 1,000 pages, and some may even split into 2 volumes. They all pack with timelines, interludes, secrets connecting across the Cosmere. It is definitely rewarding, but first you need to devote your time and attention on it. So it is a little comparison between these two formats, but written by the same author. Now I guess we can move on and talk about all these hidden gems. I will try my best to recommend some underrated fantasy that deserves some more love and attention. First up, for those of you who want something fast, fresh, and done by Sunday, here are some underrated fantasy standalones that I highly recommend. For murder mystery, I would recommend The Voyage of the Damned by Francis White. This one got like a lighter, more witty tone to investigate a series of murders on a voyage that's supposed to be a celebration. Ganymedes, our protagonist, is real fun, trust me, and he also have to confront his fear while he's playing this detective. And if you are into gothic horror, I also have Strange Beasts by Susan J. Morris. It is set in the 19th century of Paris, where a pair of unexpected partners need to investigate a series of brutal murders. And they are quite graphic, so watch out. And I didn't expect I would enjoy this kind of slow burn romance. The last one I have here is a cozy fantasy, The Teller of Small Fortunes by Julie Leon. Compared to the last two, this one is smaller in terms of the scope of adventure, and it is more about the companions which our main character Tao gonna meet along this journey. I love it because it is more heartwarming and you may take one or two life lessons home. And if you want series but not those that have been talking about for ages, I have a couple that you might not heard of, but I think you really should. First of all, another cozy fantasy, Sorcery and Small Magic by Margaret Ducey, the first book of the Wilder Song trilogy. It blends whimsical magics with strong character points and it is beautifully written. Our main character, Leo, wanna undo this magic that bounds him to his long-term nemesis called Grimm, but they have to travel to the Forbidden Land together. If you want something more atmospheric and less tropey, this one is for you. Another series I would recommend to you is an Asian-inspired one, and it is called Pact and Pattern by J.T. Greyhouse. And you can start with the first book, The Hand of the Sun King. If you love coming-of-age stories, a complex magic system, and philosophical tensions, this is a series to watch. It dives into questions like identity, power, and legacy without feeling heavy-handed. It is almost like The Realm of the Elderling by Robin Hobb. In a sense, we would witness the journey of our main character from start to finish. So it is my little comparison between Fantasy Standalone and series with some recommendations. Let me know which format do you prefer, a standalone or a series. If you know some hidden gems, you can also let me know by dropping it in the comment so that I can add them to my forever growing TBR. So if you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a like, subscribe to my channel Fantasy so you won't miss anything from me. I'll see you all real soon. Goodbye.